today's international conference, and thank you for getting up early and joining this event. Today's international conference will discuss about natural resource governance towards sustainable development. Well, it sounds a bit heavy, but trust me, our speakers will present their theory in a way that is easy for you to understand. This event was held in collaboration between Faculty of Social Science and Communication Science, Satyawacana Christian University, with the Center for Political Studies and Public Policy, Banjarmasin, Indonesia, and was supported by several universities and educational institutions. All right, before we start, I think it's important to introduce myself as today's host. I am Rizky Amalia Yanuarta, and usually people call me Rizky. I will lead this occasion from the beginning until the end, and it's gonna be a roller coaster, so please prepare yourself. Okay, let's start with prayer. I will lead us in the Christian faith that others can follow with your own beliefs. Let's pray. Dear God, on this beautiful day, we are gathered here to hold an international conference entitled Governance of Natural Resource Towards Sustainable Development. Make this international conference a useful forum for knowledge as a medium for sharing useful ideas, knowledge, and experiences from scholars, researchers, and students from various disciplines. Hopefully, the conference that we are holding today will be used for our lives, broaden our knowledge, enlighten our ideas, and lead us to become successful, productive people, who in turn will increase the dignity of our nation. Dear Lord God, and bless our heart and minds with your light. Impart your wisdom in our activities. Help us to express our thought clearly. Help us to listen to one another, respect one another, love one another, that we are among the blessed. In the name of the Lord Jesus, we pray. Amen. Next, I invite Dr. Samuel Rizal as head of Center for Political Studies and Public Policy, Banjarmasin, Indonesia, for welcome speech. Dr. Samuel.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for opportunity given to me. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I only provide an introduction related this conference. I am currently speaking on behalf of the Center for Political and Public Policy Study at Banjarmasin, South Kalimantan, which is in collaborating with PISCOM UKSW. This conference was motivated by an city with real concern for management and natural resource this accord in Indonesia, the worldwide continues experience with massive degradation and explanation for economic purposes. The country hardest by poverty are often also caught in political crisis, including conflict, hunger, and climate change. This often an aggravating factor that keep people trapped in cycle of poverty because the economic result do not have adequate infrastructure, human resource to support their productivity. The issue natural resource is not just an economic investment issue, but natural resources are also central issue in national security and resilience. Natural resources are the economic strata of a country have a narrow relationship with the wealth of natural resources theoretically will support rapid economic growth. However, a reality is very contradictory because countries what there are rights in natural resources are often countries with low economic strata. The phenomenon that occurs in many countries in the world, where countries have abundant natural resources such oil, diamonds, precious metal, minerals, and coal has been hit by conflict and experience and economic downturn. And the other hand, countries with little natural with will purposes and prosperous. The Coden and Paternary study in the phenomenon that Jesus with refers the impact causes by the abundance natural resource and the drastic decline in growth in the manufacturing industry sector with the discovery and abundant natural gas involved in the Netherlands. The phenomenon this has been a concern for a long time since 1950. There has been many studies trying in find the causes in this phenomenon, and 1993 research Richard Houghty called in phenomenon then resource course. The phenomenon which cause the abundant natural resource then under development, the economic with compared countries that do not have money natural resource. Some countries that rely in the natural resource sector, such as Venezuela, rely on oil export to support the economic and have made them
Sorry, Dr. Samuel, you are mute your audio. I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you, Doctor.
the result was predictable. The worst thing called has been hyperinflation in Venezuela. Inflation touch million percent. Prices are becoming increasing in basic commodities has become secure in employment rising because government to longer effort employ them. The Venezuelan people what use living prosperity are now living in poverty, and now few have moved to countries with more promising condition. Based on survey from Misery Index, Venezuela is the most deplorable country for the 6th year in a row. Export in the dependence of natural resource can also bring problem if the resource is not renewable. Mined gas will certainly run out. They do not have alternative sources of income. The economy can immediately collapse on the result to run out. This has happened in the country of Nauru, a small country in Pacific Ocean that is right in the phosphate content which needed by the home industry. Even small country like Nauru was once country with the highest GDP per capita in the world thanks to the higher phosphate export. However, when the phosphate reservoir began to run out, Nauru could not manage its wealth, ended up becoming bankrupt on the country because we are no longer able to pay outside debt. It's people who we are on and receive money as subsidy facility from the government are now living for the gas and even to make in the might. Basic needs are difficult. My country that have natural resource have not a choice but to develop their manufacturing sector. In the long run, countries that really in the production of finished or semi-finished goods will benefit more than the producer. If they look at the exercise of the natural resource also trying a human great whatever the political interest upon communities inside. We look the corruption perfection index report. The world most corruption country come from country that rights in natural resource, which while country that is cleaning corruption in government country that does not release one of natural resources. For mineral, for example, Congo and YC estimate have mineral reserve of USD 24 trillion. The country was built by every long civil war that result in vision from other country. The importance of sustainable development by balancing economic development and environmental carrying capital in refers to 1982 Stockholm Declaration, the principle of the Rio de Janeiro and environmental and development. Human being is a center for the consensus sustainable development. They are entitled healthy production in harmony with nature. And international mapping in United Nations in particular World Commission on Environmental Development and report by Brundtland report, which definition sustainable development, development that meets needs the present without comparison the ability of future generation to meet their our needs. The WCAD report our common found formulation as sustainable as following. Sustainable development is defined as development that meet the needs on the present without comparison the ability of future generation to meet our needs. The utilization of natural resources has become a global joint program through sustainable development. For sustainable development in natural resource management is the transformation of natural resource into development resource, increasing value added based on local or national resource. The 25th agenda at the core of principle of sustainable development is the use natural resource is strive and the natural resource can provide optimal benefit of human today without compromising the interest to future generation. This sustainable development is development which meet to needs of the present without compromising the ability for future generation to meet our needs. To continue the achievement that have not been realized will the finishing more relevant target implementing sustainable development the pupil. So the post 2050 development is structured to overcome various obstacles to development progress, including its issue of inequality, effective and inclusive governance, effective society, and several other issues. The improvement the given to goals and targets which were ranked in 70 goal point and 89 target for sustainable development goals, which will apply until 2030. The SDGs carry 5 basic principles that balance the economic, social, and environmental dimension, namely people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership that want to achieve the noble goals in 2030, namely ending poverty, keeping equality, and overcoming in climate change. On that basic, in this international conference was held to learn for the experience and phenomenon that occur in each country as well as the speaker at the conference. However, this conference is useful for all of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Samuel. Next, I invite Mr. Joseph Ernest Mambu, PhD, as Coordinator of International Relations at Satya Wacana Christian University, Indonesia, for welcome speech. Mr. Joseph.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is my privilege to be welcoming you all, even though we are still in a pandemic situation. And today we cannot meet in person, but I think I'm glad that I can welcome you on behalf of the university's management. I am happy that today we are going to ponder more about the notion of sustainable development goals, and especially we focus on natural resource government, natural resource natural resources governance towards sustainable development. It has been our university's priorities, one of the priorities, to be able to address sustainable development goals, not only because we want to be more in line with the United Nations, or today the universities all across the world are concerned about how to achieve the sustainable development goals, but also because we as a Christian university also think that sustainable development is also spiritually mandated. By that, I mean that as a Christian university, we believe that during the creation in the book of Genesis, that the human beings have the mandate to take care of the environment, to take care of the natural resources. It's part of our spiritual belief. And also, I think because this is very timely, and if I recall what happened a couple of days ago, some ironies that happened in Indonesia. I recall this incident, the flash flood incident in the city of Batu in Malang, East Java, the province of East Java. It was quite unthinkable that an area, quite in a mountainous area, can be hit by a disastrous flash flood. And I believe that this is due to the indiscriminate treatment to our environment. So I think Indonesia is prone to more natural resources if we are not careful about how to handle our environment. So the notion of natural resources governance toward sustainable development is very important here, especially we want our Indonesian people to increase our awareness of the destruction of environment and how we can ameliorate this condition in such a way that the country, as part of the global ecology, can also increase our livelihood, our awareness of the environment. And most of all, I believe that our university today is giving a platform by which everyone can contribute to how we can make our natural resources governance into a better way. So I hope that today's agenda, which has been prepared by the committee members, will be useful to all of us. And I also specifically welcome to honorable speakers from different parts of the globe. Professor Beatriz Lucia Salvador, I'm welcoming you. And then also Dr. Marsario Galleta from the Philippines, Professor Kuniyoshi Shimizu from Kyushu University in Japan, Professor Elizabeth Pereira at the Department of Economics from Portugal, and also Nada Ratkovic from Croatia, also Dr. Muhammad Khurshid Akhtar from Saudi Arabia, King Abdulaziz University, Dr. Muhammad Ohaib Asad, Islamic University of Borneo, Professor Emilia Ala Ferdov, Georgian Technical Universities, and also all the committee members who have been preparing for this for today's event. The host, thank you for introducing me, and also the moderator of today's event, Bapak Nofrias Umbu. And I'm also grateful to the Faculty of Social Sciences and Communications who are laboriously preparing for today's event. And I hope that today's event will be inspiring for all of us. Without further ado, I would like to welcome everyone to and participate, engage more fully in this forum, so we can be more enlightened. Thank you very much. And I think with this brief remark, I hereby declare that this event is officially open by the grace of God. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you. Before all the speakers present their material, let me say hello for our 9 speakers. I will call off the speakers and I apologize if I made a mistake while spelling the name. Okay, welcome to Professor Macario Galleta from Philippines, and then Professor Mohammed Khurshid Akhtar from Saudi Arabia, and then Professor Beatriz Lucia Salvador Bisotto from Brazil, and then Professor Nada Ratkovic from Croatia, and then Professor Kuniyoshi Shimizu from Japan, and then Professor Elizabeth Pereira from Portugal, and then Professor Emilia Alaverdov from Georgia, and then Dr. Muhammad Uhaid Asad from Indonesia, and then Ms. Putri Herdianasari, SIP MIP from Indonesia. Welcome to this virtual room. Thank you for your willingness to be a speaker for this international conference. Then I would like to announce some rules in this international conference, such as first, during the occasion, we hope that all participants can mute their respective Zoom. Okay, and then if you have questions, you can submit them during the question and answer session. And third, hosts and moderators have full rights to organize this occasion. Well, without further ado, I will give this time to our moderator, Mr. Nofrius Umbu. He is a lecturer in international relations at Satya Wacana Christian University. Your virtual space and time, Kak Umbu.
Hello, everyone. Good morning from Indonesia. Thank you, first of all, for attending this international conference, which is a wonderful occasion for all of us to exchange ideas and have a rewarding discussion. First of all, please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Nofrius Tumbu Walangaranau, lecturer in international relations at Department of Faculty of Social and Communication Science in Satya Wacana Christian University, Indonesia. And I will be the moderator for today's conference. And we are honored and pleased to welcome all the speakers and the participants in this event. And for today's conference, we will talk about natural resources governance towards sustainable development, and have come with us 9 distinguished speakers from 8 countries. And together we will discuss about various perspectives delivered by our speakers related to our theme for today. And from these discussions, we hope that all the participants can grasp meaningful insight about how the government should perceive the sustainable development policy and how to execute it, and also for all the parties that can take part in this development, how can we actively involve in this mechanism or framework. And also, as mentioned before by our host, I will explain the mechanism of this conference session. And first of all, webinar participants are expected to maintain the conduciveness of the session, and webinar participants also are expected to be able to ensure that our microphone is turned off and only activated when given the opportunity to speak. And the last one is participants can use the raised hand feature if they want to submit their opinion and the ideas at the questions and answer sessions. And also for the speakers, I will briefly explain the mechanism of our sessions. And this presentation session will be conducted in 2 sessions. The first one will be given to 4 speakers and the remaining 5 speakers in the second session. And also for the time, the presentation will be conducted for 15 minutes for each speaker to deliver their presentation, and discussion will be held for 40 minutes at the end of each presentation session. And also for regarding to the speakers, please allow me to remind you when there are about 2 until 3 minutes left for the speakers to deliver the presentations. And now let us get into our main session, that is the presentations of our honorable speakers. And for the first speakers, please welcome Professor Dr. Beatriz Lucia Salvador Bisotto. And I will briefly give an introductions about the background of Professor Beatriz. And she is from University Center Univavest, Brazil, and very vibrant in doing her activities of a professor, researcher, and member of organizing body of an international webinar extension project on diversity of themes and cultures with the objective of international sessions of the university. She also involved in international research on the grape and wine chain between Brazil and Portugal, governance and regional development, social and applied sciences group involving Brazil, Pakistan, India, and Portugal, and also spirituality and human development group between Brazil, India, and Pakistan. She has been publishing many academic articles, whether it is for international, national, and regional congresses, which some of them are in priority areas, competitive advantage, competitive priorities, environmental management, and environmental accounting. And for our first speaker, Professor Beatriz Bisotto, for the next 15 minutes, the time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. At first, I would like to thank you for your kind presentation, for your kind introduction about me. And I would like to say good morning, Indonesia. And that is a pleasure for me to be here among so honored friends. Most of them are my friends and so important people. Thank you very much for the invitation. Okay. So let's start. I will start my presentation. I will talk about the myths and challenges of the new millennium entrepreneurial education focused on the circular economy. All right, first we're going to see today's paths, the line that I'm going to follow along my presentation. We're going to talk about economic and environmental sustainability, the pillars of sustainability, the profile of sustainable companies, the benefits of sustainable companies, the research that we have in Brazil about that, and a small reflection in the end. Okay, economic and environmental sustainability is the first part. We have here the environmental and the economic. Then, before seeing everything, it's important to know the pillars of sustainability here. And on the top of this, we have the people, the planet, and the profit, right? Economics, in fact, is the social science that studies human behavior from the perspective of its economics relations, using mathematical and statistical tools as methods to build theories and analyze the observed behavior of individuals. So it should be noted that it is not possible to dissociate economics from the pillars of sustainability. It is easy to talk about sustainable development, not least because it's a cliche among enthusiasts for environmental and social preservation. But when looking at the tripod of sustainable and social development, it is not possible to dissociate economic development. This is very simple. For companies to adhere to social and environmental development, they need capital. In this way, it is first necessary to develop the economy and then turn to the other pillars of sustainability. This is real and fits with theory. It is possible to invest in the social and environmental areas only at a profit. To end poverty, money, investments in sustainable businesses are needed. But what can be inferred is that large organizations make appeals and create norms and obligate companies in the country to invest in social pillars. The obligation is usually not surrounded by economic studies. So it is easy to compel to preserve the social and environmental aspects. But what people are concerned about is having food for their livelihoods. And this food comes from economic development. It is known that the world population is growing. It is necessary to have work for everyone, be the technicians or manual workers. One of the alternatives is teaching entrepreneurship. With entrepreneurship, there are several possible areas if they absorb labor. People need to create alternatives to support their family. And there are many possible activities to be carried out, such as the circular economy, which does not require a large investment, but only creativity. Thus, it is believed that in this part, the government could invest in professional training courses for people in need and with good environmental initiatives. Environmental and social sustainability. What is environmental sustainability? In a continuous manner, Agenda 21 defines environmental sustainability as the sustainable relationship between consumption and production patterns in terms of energy, so that environmental pressures to depletion of natural resources and pollution are reduced to a minimum. Industry has always been a relevant actor and in many moments led the process of deconstructing the false dichotomy between developing and preserving man and nature. Historically, we have made a relevant contribution by developing solutions that increase the efficiency of production lines and promote the conscious consumption of resources. The concept of social development emerged as an expansion of the understanding of the dimensions of the development, broadening the vision of a strict conception related to economic growth to incorporate other pillars of social well-being, especially those related to social rights. But it needs to be noted that social inclusion needs to be productive and not as a welfare. In Brazil, for example, the Ministry of Citizenship launches a financial education course for people, for popular and people entrepreneurs. This is very relevant here. Okay, here we are going to talk a little bit about the sustainable company profile. We have on the top on green sustainability, the economic aspects that are payments with established deadlines. We have the low indebtedness, good profitability. In the social aspects, we have fair wages and good working conditions. Company contributes to the community, and activities and businesses based on ethics and respect for the others comply with deadlines and agreements. Here we have the environmental aspects that are reduces waste, the values energy and water efficiency, and reduces waste production. All right, the benefits of sustainable companies. We have the cost reduction, material savings, the products mix, the revenue generation, marketing, innovation, and the high quality of the products. Let's talk a little bit too about the research we have in Brazil. Sustainability is no longer considered as a superfluous subject And today, being a sustainable corporation is more than a status. It means earning the respect of its consumers and partners. The source of it is from the National Confederation of Industry in 2020. 9 out of 10 million in large industries avoid wasting water and energy. According to this study carried out with executives from 500 million in large industrial companies, waste management practices and actions to reduce water and energy waste. A survey also shows that 98% of companies adopt at least one sustainability action, and 63% of them intend to increase investments in the area in the next 2 years. The greatest concern of the executives interviewed is with the disposal of waste. Considering the current stage of the business environment in Brazil, 94% of executives see opportunities in sustainability actions. Another fact that shows the interest of companies in the topic is the investment intention. Practically 2 out of 3, 63% companies interviewed said that they will increase their investments in sustainability in the next 2 years. Even during the pandemic, in the midst of the economic crisis, 28% of them said that they have expanded this type of investments in the last 18 months. Let's reflect a little. Nothing is impossible, as hostile as the environment seems. There are always two sides. Never think it's impossible. And even when the sea and its most inhospitable place is possible, it is always possible to appreciate what is good about it. This is what I have to talk today. Thank you very much for inviting me. I hope my ideas could enrich this event, as my other colleagues certainly will do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Beatrice, for these wonderful presentations. And we are going to move on to the second speaker. I want to greet Professor Kuniyoshi Shimizu if Professor Kuniyoshi is already with us in this virtual room. Hello, Mrs. Bubu, can I confirm whether Professor Kuniyoshi is already with us?
Yeah. Okay, please.
Okay, if we are not already see Professor Kuniyoshi for our second speaker, we are gonna move on for our third speaker, Professor Elizabeth Pereira. Good morning from Indonesia, Professor Elizabeth.
Good morning. Good night from Portugal.
Yeah, good night from Portugal.
Here we
Thank
are.
you so much for your time.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, please allow me to briefly introduce Professor Elizabeth's background to all of us. Professor Elizabeth Pereira is from University of Aveiro, Portugal, Department of Economic Management and Industrial Engineering and Tourism. Professor Elizabeth is Assistant Professor at the Department of Economic Management, Industrial Engineering and Tourism, where she coordinates the international mobility, Erasmus Plus, and Campus Repair programs for economic studies. She is full researcher at GOV-COPP Research Unit. And she's also a chair of the subject Committee of Economics and Businesses of Campus Europe. She holds a MSc on Economics and PhD in Business and Economic Competitiveness. And also, last but not least, she is author of several dozen articles published in International Scientific Journal Index, book chapters, and institutional reports. Without further ado, Professor Elizabeth, please take your time for the next 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, I want to thank you very much the invitation to be here today with you in this conference. And so I'm going to share my presentation. So, okay. So I'm going to talk about, like Beatrice talk also about circular economy. I'm going also to talk about circular economy and about the importance of circular economy for sustainability of natural resources, because is the topic of this conference. And of course, is also something that is really in the agenda of the worries of many or all the countries in the world. So circular economy is gaining a lot of importance in the recent years, especially in the last decades, because it really or represents a new paradigm of economic development with a significant environment, economic and social benefits in a global scale. It allows also to achieve the sustainable development once circular economy is strongly linked with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that were approved by the United Nations, by the General Assembly that is missing there in September of 2015. And it's really so give a place to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In March 2020, European Commission, based on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, adopted the new Circular Economy Plan with the proposal to join the circular economy importance with the case of the European Union industrial strategy to address a challenge that is very important, that is the green industrial transformation. And all that together, it's allowed to contribute to the main purpose to modernize European Union's economy and stimulate the development of the lead markets, first in Europe, but of course all over the world, because the components are all joining to the production, and so to have the target to achieve the climate neutral objective and the circular products altogether. So this is one of the main agenda now with the Glasgow meeting of the main countries, really to talk about and to establish some outputs to accomplish in the next decades. So to talk about what is indeed circular economy. So circular economy presents a sustainable way to both produce and consume goods, and at the same time to contribute to the sustainable development of economies and all our planet. So it focuses on replacing the end of life of the products in the current production and consumption practices by the philosophy of the 3 R's, so reducing, reusing, and recycling, the products and the materials in production, distribution, and consumption processes, and is based in 3 principles. So, preserving the value of natural capital, so the natural resources, optimizing the resources productivity through the circulation. So the circulation or the circularity between the products and the components, it's going to allow to do more efficient production with minimizing these resources, especially the natural and the finite resources. And by the way, enhancing the effectiveness of the system by reducing harm to human welfare. So when we see in images, so how we pass it by a classic linear economy to a circular economy, we can see that in the middle, we have a recycling economy. So all the things are not done from one day to another day or just in the single step. So first, linear economy was made by several times in all these decades from industrial revolution till now. So to take, to make, to use, to dispose that have some pollution on it, and that is many waste on the linear economy, as we can see here on the basket. So the recycle economy was better, but it has many waste of that, and the disposal are going to imply that they have pollution creation too. But circular economy are going to use the raw materials when they are needed and in the minimized vision, and are going to use it on the production, like to make, to use, and special to reuse and recycle, so and remake. So using the 3 R's to, at the end, so have a recycle economy with the target to have the 0 waste. So we see here that the circular economy against the linear economy has to go into combine, so the biological materials, our natural resources, with the technical materials, and join the two, so the energy is really done and the materials from renewable sources, like Beatrice showed us, and not from finite sources like it postulates or postulated the linear economy. So the circular economy had lots of benefits for the environment, for the economy, and also for the social and for the next generations. But we see that for that, we have to have a good design. The planification of the production manufacturing has to be done in a different way. The distribution has the same purpose, so has to be planning and designing in a different way to be efficient and with minimizing of the waste and minimizing the pollution. And the consumption, of course, as we are going to see in the next slide, and to repair the materials, because instead we put the materials, the products you use at the garbage, we can repair that. And we can use it for more 1 year, 10 years, or more than that. So the residual waste will be minimizing, have a proposal to be 0 waste, if possible. So when we talk about the circular economy focus, it is going to take into account the waste management with the target to be 0, the waste prevention, the resources efficiency, and the human well-being that are really important. But when we pass it by the what is proposed in the case of the European plan for circular economy, the green economy focus is more than that and are going to englobe all. with the main target to have an ecosystem resilience. So are going to take all into account. And we really accomplish and we really can put working the circular economy paradigm or the new philosophy of that or principle, we have to take into account there exists objectives and actions. And these objectives to minimize the waste, to reduce environment footprint, to generate the increased income with the economic growth and the economic development has also to be according to reduce resources dependency and is all together. And these all together objectives has to be really according to the actions. So the actions are needed for that in the economy and all the productive systems that are all connected in all the countries in the world because we live in the globalized world. So if we retain our attentions to the resource savings, we can see that in this study, so for the social perspective of 2030, we can see that the total resource benefits related with our natural resources of energy, of land, of water, and of steel, if we take into account that our energy is taken from oil, for example, or is taken from the natural sources of energy without the wind or the sun or the solar energy, we can see that we can really have a total resource benefits when we take into account the building energy efficiency. If we really increase that, the average of social cost efficient are going to increase. Also, it happens with the large-scale farm hills that are the ones that are more going to pollute the environment and can waste many natural resources too. And the food waste. So the food waste is another issue where we can really have a total of resources benefit if we invest in that, in the cost efficiency and the better way to do that. Of course, also the municipal water, and we can see, for example, in the cases where are more efficiency that are in the case of our vehicles. So that being electric and hybrid, it can be a big investment, but in the future, our natural resources can really benefit a lot on that. So, but by now, the costs, the efficiency costs are very high. So the circular economy can be applied in several ways in the industry, when you talk about production, in the practical life, so can be done by individuals and families, by companies and institutions. So when they are going to sell the products, or the institutions like governments, universities, schools, the municipalities, and so on. The cities and society, because this densification in cities of populations is very important for the natural resources and for production and for the pollution and climate changes. And also the social innovation proposals. So these all together can do it and can contribute a lot for circular economy in the way that nowadays called the thinking circular. So circular, the way we think in the circular way, it's really something that can involve all the actors here represented and being involved to really circular economy. So it's very important for the sustainability. I bring here a case study, just to apply circular economy. And I bring the case of the textiles industry case. Why? Well, because textiles industry is the major contribution to climate change, but is also one of the industries that use more resources and that are going to pollute a lot. So, and this is a way in this industry where are not applied much the recycling rates, like we see here in these statistics. So Europe recycling 26% of the textiles, but is the maximum. So much things has to be done here. So if the case of the textiles industry can really be applied the circular economy on the way of the production of the garments and all the textiles that we have it, in the closed loop of recycling, of reuse, we can really have a gain of 84% of that. So it's important that in this production to choose the most suitable production materials, which not going to pollute the environment or pollute less, that will be biodegradable and that will be most appropriated for that. But in many cases, these are not taken into account. So it's important to take into account also from society, from family and individuals, that the way that we and the society deal the textiles use are very important, like the way of the washing textiles. Why? Because when we wash in the high temperatures, this is going to degrade the environment. So it's very important to wash less and wash at lower temperatures. And how to reuse it, and special to give a user reuse in the second hand, or to sell that for other industries, like the automobile industry. So if it's installed, circular economy on that, so the textiles can really be used for other industry, can really be used with innovation to new fabrics, to new industrial production of other things. Like, for example, is the case that it's using on the automobile industry, or in the case of other industries, for a new production, for example, of another textiles that we see many times now in the shops, especially in the textile stores that are international. And so if we have in mind that in many cases the garments are just used for one season, and especially in the developed countries, so are only used for one season, and in this case, so 15% of consumer used clothes are recycled or reused. Once that about or nearly 100% can be recycled. So if we really can have a new culture to reuse these garments or recycle them or give them for another for shops that sell these in second hand, or to give to people that have that poor people, or people that have no in that moment no healed or some remnants to really buy it. And for other hand, the paper or the roll that some international stores have been realizing in the recent years in the market are very important, because these shops, like for example the C&A, the Mango, the Zara, so they really do some campaigning where they do it for sustainable clothes. We see that in the information of that clothes, or the case of reuse or recycling, where they give discounts when people buy another piece of clothes, so are given a discount related with that piece of cloth that was given. So if we really use this in the textiles industry, that is possible that 95% so can be recycled. And so this is really to go to allow to minimize the resources in the world. So what is really very good for the planet? So don't throw then weigh the textiles that you can really use or resell, or give it for people, so in the poverty conditions, for example. So the textiles recovery and recycle provide both environmental and economic and also social benefits, because it's going to reduce the need for landfill space, and it's very important nowadays. Reducing the pressure on virgin resources, like is the case of cotton or wool, reducing the pollution, because textiles industry is the most polluted industry in the world, reducing water and energy consumption, and is going to reducing the demand for dyes and fixing agents all over the world. So that is very important to take into account the circular economy. So with benefits for the environment, for the economy, and in the social way. So special because it's important in the social innovation, and is important also to decrease the poverty in the world and to generate inclusion. And this is passed also in the developed countries. So it's very important to do it all over the world and all the countries in the world. So I think I am on the time or already. So passed my time. So thank you very much for your attention. And I hope that the future will be good for all of us and for the next generations, if we take into account that circular economy is very important for the sustainable development. So questions that you might have. So I suppose that will be in the end, right? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Elizabeth, for this very insightful presentation. And we will move on to our fourth speaker. On the list, it is Ms. Putri Herdiana Sari, SIP MIP. And for the brief introductions, Ms. Putri is a lecturer at the Faculty of Social and Communication Sciences, majoring in International Relations. She obtained a bachelor degree and also a master degree in Political Science. And currently, Ms. Putri is the head of Social Political Department at Setiawacana Christian University, Indonesia. Her work includes the concept of the radicalization in integrated learning-based education, electoral distancing, alternative to the implementations of the 2020 regional head election amid COVID-19 in Indonesia. And also some other works are brief explanations of holistic political comparison methods, also political comparisons, analysis of North Korea, South Korean denuclearization decision-making, at bilateral meeting using game theory, and communication in the political education process of beginner voters, study on regional head election for Semarang Regency, Indonesia, and many other works. Without further ado, for the next 15 minutes, Ms. Putri, please take your time.
Okay, thank you, Kak Umbu. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to deliver material in this seminar. The Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty and then protect the planet and ensure that by 2030 all people enjoy peace and prosperity. The 17 SDGs are integrated. They recognize that action in one area will affect outcomes in others, and then development must balance social, economic, and environmental sustainability. Countries have committed to prioritize progress for those who are further behind, and then the SDGs are designed to end poverty, hunger, and discrimination against women and girls. The creativity know how technology and financial resources from all of society is necessary to achieve the SDGs in every context. The SDGs can only be realized with a strong global partnership and cooperation. Successful development agenda requires inclusive partnership at the global, regional, and national and local levels, built upon principles and values and upon a shared vision and shared goals, placing people and then planet at the center. Many countries require official development assistance to encourage growth and trade. Yet at a level are falling and donor countries have not live up to their pledge to ramp up development finance. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the global economy is projected to contract sharply by 3% in 2020, experience its world recession since the Great Depression. And then strong international cooperation is needed now more than ever to ensure that countries have the means to recover for the pandemic, build back better, and achieve the sustainable development goals. And then, what are multi-stakeholder partnership? Multi-stakeholder partnership involve organization from different social sector working together, sharing risks, and combining their unique resources and competence in ways that can generate and maximize value toward shared partnership and individual partner objects. Often talk a more innovative, more sustainable, more efficient, and more system appropriate approach. And then this is some potential benefit of global multi-stakeholder partnership. First, facilitating a cross-sector dialogue toward creating an allegiance around a common agenda for action and advocacy. And then second, combining and leveraging the complementary roles and diverse capabilities or a large set of core sector stakeholders and promoting their inclusive participation in solving sustainable development challenge. And then third, facilitating a shift to more programmatic approach to planning, investment, and implementation. And then the fourth, providing multi-level platform or network for achieving a sustainable impact at scale by opening up new opportunities for collaboration, linking action across multiple scales from global to local and local to global. And by facilitating rapid learning and efficient knowledge transfer both horizontally and vertically. And then this is the typology of multi-stakeholder partnership. There are four typology: first joint project, and then second joint program, and then third strategic alliance, and then fourth collective impact. The model it is from Peterson. So you can see at my slide, this is the typology of multi-stakeholder partnership. And then next. Some challenges, potential risks of global multi-stakeholder partnership. There are imposing rigid and top-down blueprint approaches and conditionalities with respect to strategic and priority setting, funding requirement, procedure, etc. And then reinforcing sectoral and projects, and then investing insufficiently in building the structures needed to manage the complexity and challenge of working effectively across global, and then seeking to expand the development role of the private sector in multi-stakeholder partnership without putting into place agreed rules and other measures to ensure private sector transparency and accountability. And then power imbalance in the governance and operation of the multi-stakeholder partnership, and exclusion or lack of meaningful participation of stakeholders, in particular local sector. And then this is the key design principle for effective and accountable global multi-stakeholder partnership. And then first, establish a multi-stakeholder governance structure that is fit for purpose with respect to the MSP's vision and governance and operation needs, and then invest in a multi-layer backbone support infrastructure capable of managing the complexity of working at and across global. And then third, with country priorities and worktop, national and local planning, budgeting, and fund allocation system in order to build a genuine ownership and stagnant capacity. And then fourth, advance, integrate, and result-driven to development challenging through multi-stakeholder dialogue. And then combine the potential benefit of vertical funding models, and then support local control finance mechanism where appropriate and feasible, and then ensuring robust monitoring and evaluation to support learning and knowledge sharing. Okay, thank you. This is the end of my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Putri, for presenting us and deliver the materials about how the stakeholders, multi-stakeholders should be involved in the sustainable development framework, global framework. And I would like to welcome Professor Shimizu. I think I've seen Professor join us in this room.
Can I talk?
Good morning from Indonesia, Professor. Okay, welcome to our international conference to Professor Kuniyoshi Shimizu, and please let me briefly give an introduction about Professor Kuniyoshi Shimizu to all the participants. Professor Kuniyoshi affiliated as Associate Professor, Systematic Forest and Forest Product Science, Department of Agro-Environmental Sciences, Faculty of Agriculture in Kyushu University, Japan, and His field of specialization is natural products bioorganic chemistry. He has also published numerous academic works, including several books such as Molecular Design of Soybean Lipoxygenase Inhibitors based on natural products, also naturally occurring antifungal agents and their modes of actions, fungicide for plant and animal diseases, also multifunctional acne control agents, current topics in phytochemistry, and many other. And without further ado, for the next 15 minutes, Professor Shimizu, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for invitation. And also it's a great honor to have a presentation also against you. Okay, so thank you very much for all of the committee and especially the Professor Dr. Muhammad Wahab Asad. Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a great honor. So I will share the PowerPoint and please wait. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Okay. Okay, can you see my presentation? No problem.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so today I'm talking about how should we utilize natural resources for sustainable development based on the scientific evidence used for pharmaceuticals, functional food, aromas, and living environment. So maybe already the several professors pointed out. So we have faced on the several program resources and the environment, especially in Asia, rapid economic development and population growth, and also the several cause that result in the several problems, resource consumption, environmental deterioration. So how should we solve this problem? Then also we should consider the several point of view. And also just another, also some professor pointed out circular economy, and also it's an important concept. So several parts is needed: generation inhibition, sustainable development, new function development, environmental pollution measures, and efficient sorting, classified correction, and also the how to utilize natural, renewable, also recyclable or natural product. How to utilize. Today, I'm talking about this point. From ancient time, so we use natural resources as medicine, aroma, dye, food, antibacterial, cosmetics, healing, energy, and materials, and woody house. Some usage is for human directly, and some usage is for our life directly. Especially in Indonesia and jamu medicine is very, very famous. And also this is also one of the natural resources, renewable natural resources. However, so still we have a lot of rumor and traditional knowledge, right? So we should consider also if we consider to utilize natural resources more efficiently, so we should put the scientific evidence, right? So if you cannot put the scientific evidence at that case, so utilization is will not be done. Right? So we should put the scientific evidence against natural resources, right? And from rumor and only traditional knowledge to scientific evidence. Then finally, we will find out multi-utilization of natural resources. Medicine, functional food, aroma, woody house. Today, I'm talking about several examples quickly. So today, I'm talking about the several utilization method. So I focus on the 4 points: natural medicinal mushroom and natural functional plant food, wood, and aroma and woody house. So if we put the scientific evidence, the worth of natural resources should be increased. And these kind of resources is quite different from the resources based on the fuel. Right? So we should consider how to put the scientific evidence. So at first, I'm talking about the Ganoderma mushroom. This mushroom is the most famous mushroom and well known to have medicinal activities in ancient China. But this mushroom is famous in Japan, reishi in Japanese, rinchi in Chinese, and prescribing for hyperlipidemia, hypertension. So huge variety of medicinal compound existed in this mushroom. So yeah, there are a lot of paper about medicinal effect. Today, I'm talking about the benign prostatic hyperplasia. So what's benign prostatic hyperplasia? So most of men aged over the 60 years old have this kind of symptom. So getting older and older, prostate. Of course, the only men have the prostate. So, and getting the increase and increase. And finally, and urination is difficult. So, so it's not good for the health. Right? What's the mechanism? So the testosterone is one of the androgen. Is converted to dihydrotestosterone by 5-alpha reductase. And then androgen receptor binding, then enlargement of prostate. This is the mechanism for this disease. So this key enzyme, 5-alpha reductase, should be inhibited. Then one of the way for preventing of benign prostatic hyperplasia. So we have screening because in Japan, in the world, huge variety of mushroom. Which mushroom is good for preventing benign prostate hyperplasia? So you can see this figure. X-axis is 5-alpha reductase inhibitor activity. And y-axis, so you can see the name of commercially available medicinal and edible mushroom. Interestingly, only this mushroom shows very, very strong 5-alpha reductase inhibitor activity. So this is one of the also scientific evidence. But what kind of compound contribute to this activity? So we analyze by using HPLC. So this mushroom contains a huge variety of triterpenoid. Some triterpenoid must be important for inhibiting 5-alpha reductase. Then, but we don't know which triterpenoid have the activity. So we can separate and check the activity, and this fraction have the activity, and then separate and check the activity, and also then check them. Finally, we have found out that some specific triterpenoid have the strong alpha glucose 5-alpha reductase inhibitor activity. Right? So you can see this one, this kind of very, very unique compound. Right? So natural resources is the great source for producing the chemicals. Finally, we have found out the mechanism. The Ganoderma rinchi, this mushroom have the great effect for preventing benign prostate hyperplasia with anti-androgenic activity. Testosterone is binding to testosterone is converted to dihydrotestosterone by 5-alpha reductase. However, some compound, like acid TR, DM, and this compound inhibit strongly. And then other compound inhibit dihydrotestosterone bind to androgen receptor. And finally, and prostate growth is prohibited. Okay, this is also one of the scientific evidence. We did the clinical trial, and by using the placebo, and around 3 months, once a day, 6 milligram, right? And or the placebo once a daily. So you can see. So and time is limited, so I cannot explain more detail, but result is Ganoderma rinchi. This mushroom was effective and significantly superior to placebo in improving IPSS. So that's mean. So we put the also natural resources as the scientific evidence. So we provide a utilization method. Right? So mushroom is cultivated, renewable, recyclable materials. So I provide one of the hint. Next, how to utilize plant Okay, so and also from the concept against the circular economy and several SDGs also purpose. So we should always consider waste to the variable compound, utilization of waste. So one example is olive. Right? So olive milled waste is a major byproduct generated during olive oil extraction. So as you know that olive oil is very, very famous and very, very good for our health. However, so during the olive oil extraction, only 20% move to olive oil. Huge amount of waste is produced. So now all of the world, olive milled waste is now a major environmental concern due to high oil. So we should consider how to utilize this waste. Right? From waste to the variable material is one of the important strategy how to utilize natural resources. And also we have checked the polyphenol. So olive contains a huge variety of polyphenol, so it's very, very famous. However, only 2% move to the olive oil and 98% move to the waste. Right? So we must find out the utilization method against the waste. So we clarify the chemical compounds. So we identify the 7 pentacyclic toluterpenes from waste, olive milled waste, and 8 phenolic compound. And we have evaluated some of compounds have the strong anti-allergic medicinal effect. Very, very good resources. So that means from waste to the variable materials. Okay, next. So yeah, previously we collaborate with the research institute in Papua New Guinea. So breadfruit and very famous in the Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, maybe in Indonesia, nangka juice. Right? So, and also we focus on the cosmetic materials from the, also several plants. So interestingly, so, and I focus on the tyrosinase. Tyrosinase, at first I explained briefly. So when we have the sunshine and getting the skin is darker and darker. So this is the mechanism. Tyrosine is amino acid, is converted to doper. And finally, melanin is produced by tyrosinase. So if we found out tyrosinase inhibitor, so melanin production is prohibited. So we have screened. So y-axis is the plant name in the Papua New Guinea, and 23 plant we have screened. And only this one, Artocarpus plant, Artocarpus incissus, and also the Artocarpus heterophyllus. So in Indonesia, you said nangka. Right? So the woody part shows very, very strong the tyrosinase inhibitor activity. Right? So we have found out the several interesting compounds from the breadfruits. Right? So, and some compounds shows very strong. And also that we did the clinical trial and animal experiment. So we have found out this extract have the great potential for cosmetics. So several also cosmetic company use this plant extract as the also a cosmetic ingredient. Yeah? So if we don't know the scientific evidence against natural resources, just waste, nobody so use. Right? And also that's why they don't know the value, right, of natural resources. So then easy to be destroyed. But if once we put the variable effect, so everybody try to protect natural resources. So that's why scientific evidence is one of the solutions for protecting the environment, not only economic, but also environment. Okay, so final topic is described briefly. So wood, right? Wood is one of the natural resources. This is wood. So also that maybe can you see this one wood? It's difficult to see. And also this is wood, right? This is wood. So wood is very, very good smell, right? So we also in Japan, there are a lot of wood house. Wood house have the good smell and also renewable, and CO2 is deposit, right? So that's why from considering the SDGs, So wood house is one of the solution. But what's the benefit? We have built the two type of wood house, right? And then also check what kind of aroma emitted from wood, right? So I'll explain quickly. Maybe it's difficult to catch, but also I'd like to say the main point. So wood itself emits several also good aroma compound. And also that we check the sleep quality in the woody house, and also only result high quality of sleep. You can see wood environment have the deep sleep state is getting longer, right? So that means very, very good for sleep. And also the and efficient of your work, mistake rate, right? So mistake rate is getting decreased, right? So that means the concentrate on task in the wood environment. And also that we can check the parasympathetic nervous system, right? And also we found out the wood environment induced relaxation, relax, very, very good, right? So, and also we use, apply the very, very older person. In Japan, is getting the aged country. So cognitive function, prevention, destroy of cognitive function is one of the important issue. So this is just a case study, but some also older person, the cognitive function was improved. Right? So with the house, right, renewable materials, right, is good for living space. And also I'd like to say that briefly that this is the final topic. So recently, so in the COVID-19, right, so antivirus effect is also great concern. So we can put the virus on the surface of wood and also check the effect, right? So time is limited. I'd like to explain quickly. So influenza virus type A was dropped on the surface of each wood. After 2 hours, the infectivity of the virus on wood, solid cedar, was reduced by more than 99.9%. So that means the solid cedar, one of the representative wood, can be expected to have the effect of reducing the infectivity of influenza virus. So that's why we are now expecting the wood, especially solid cedar, will exert the same effect on SARS-CoV-2. That means the COVID-19. Okay, time is already finished. I will conclude. So today, my talk is quite different from others, Professor, but also I'd like to say to you, natural resources have the great potential, but no scientific evidence. Most of them remains unclear. Yeah? So once we put the scientific evidence, so we found out a utilization method. This is the just image. So in Indonesia and in the world, we have a lot of natural resources from ancient time. But once we put the scientific evidence, right, market is getting increase and increase and increase, and value and increase and increase and increase. So economic point of view, it's very, very important. And also that everybody recognize natural resources have the great potential. So they are trying to protect, right? And they are keep that natural resources, right? Compared with the plastic or some artificial drug. Right? So natural resources is good for CO2, carbon dioxide, also emission depress the society. Okay. Okay, sorry, so time is over. So this is our laboratory, right? There are a lot of foreign students, including the Indonesian student and Brazil and also Egypt. So that's why if you have a chance, please come to our laboratory. So thank you very much for your attention. Terima kasih. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Shimizu, for your very informative presentation for all of us. And to all of the 4 speakers, thank you for delivering a really wonderful presentation for us. And we will continue our session with the question and answer sessions. We will be discussing about the presentation that have been delivered by all the speakers. And also, for all the participants, you can use the raise hand feature in your tablet or monitor or any devices that you use to give your opinion or comments and send some question for all of the speakers. And please, for anyone wants to give some comments or discussion with our speakers, we will give the chance for maybe 3 participants to give some opinions for the materials. And you may also can type your questions in the chat box if you want to. And also I want to give some information for all the participants who have sent us the abstracts, and some of them were asking about the acceptance information or letter for the work that has been sent to us. And we will give the informations of each abstract that has been selected in this international conference after this this meeting. And also for anyone who has sent the full paper, we will be also selected it and will publish it in our journal in Satyawacana Christian University. And for the abstract and also has been selected, we will make it into a report or a book proceeding as the continuations of our meeting today. Okay, please, for anyone in this room wants to give some comments. Okay, we will have 2 sessions for discussion in today's conference. So I think we will get back to our discussion sessions after all of the speakers continue to presenting the materials. And I think to make our time efficient, I will just continue to our 5th speaker, and we will welcome Professor Dr. Nada Ratkovic as the 5th speaker. And as the brief introductions of Professor Nada Ratkovic, she is a professor, award-winning educational trainer and researcher, and also she also master degree in economics and in mechanical engineering, also as International Internship University board member of IIU Croatia. And she is an advisor in National Agency for Education and Training, active council member of Croatian Society for Operation Research. And yeah, she deserved a honorary doctorate in human rights, social rights, entrepreneurship, and finishing PhD in Croatia. Also, she writes scientific articles in domestic and international journals for more than 100 and works review of international authors. Also, last but not least, she won many awards, recognition, and diploma, certificate, medals for national and international achievement. And for the next 50 minutes, Professor Nada Ratkovic, the time is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, because it is really early morning in my country and almost I sleeping. So I'm really happy and honored to be here today as a speaker, and I want to congratulations to all the amazing speakers before me, because their researches, presentations, and speeches were really great. I will talk about the situation in Croatia. And what will I present? I will present an overview of the progress in the development of indicators of sustainable development in Croatia. On which are they based, and what national sets in the recent time, and recent develops, and what are that key challenges. They are comparable of aggregation variability in SDG in relation to quality to data in sustainable development policies. The impacts of reflections are complex also on different kinds of user needs, social responsibility, and I will conclude with one critical role of SD in measurement of progress in society, and with some lessons that I learned. I really do a lot in this topic, as our wonderful moderator said. At IAU, I organized a big conference each day, one SDG, and have amazing speakers and amazing topics and amazing researchers about this. What will I say about my country? My country really invests a lot in SDG. If we talk about billions. So 4 to 6 billions in renewable energy, and it is to 2020. Also, we have many actions on the dimension of environment, and they are focused on SDGs 3, 6, 7, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. And from 2013, in Croatia, we established an information system for the strategic planning and development management to keep the progress on the actions. Croatia also submitted a voluntary national review from 2019, and that review is on the national development strategy till 2030, and it is based on the United Nations agenda in Croatia. What Croatia is planning and what we are doing and what investments are making. In Croatia, we are reducing the population of environment pollution. Also, we are reinforcing the environmental factors, health impact assessment. I really like the research of the colleague before us, his topic, and I really want to hear more about that. And we have making many developments of green infrastructure and nature-based solutions about the national development strategy. In education, we have many investments also, and our students on my faculty we have a business responsibility colleague, and what is the emphasizes? The emphasizes is till 2030. Our students really need to develop critical thinking skills, investigating, questioning, like we do researchers. They make researches and learn about that on the environment-based education. Also, we have a climate action team, and we coordinate all the steps. What are the steps there? That is planning, action, reflection. If we talk about reflect and review, it is adopting the actions. If we are talking about the plan is to motivate our students to be involved, and not only students but in all professors. And we must take action. What means that take action? We must collect data. Also, eco-media literacy. We are talking today about media literacy, digital literacy, but eco-media literacy is also very important. What it resonated eco-media literacy to us. It means that it recognized the relationship between infrastructure and eco-media literacy. If we talk about Croatia, the topic is not taught less about eco-media literacy, and there is a big correlation between eco and ego-media literacy, a paradigm shift and invisible issues about waste, systematic policy shift. How will we apply an environmental justice perspective in not only in the society, we can say in teaching. We can visualize projects, field work, field trips, write journals, connect ethics, teach kids or students how to organize it and learn about non-violence. So all topics can be included in this eco-media literacy. The third question is, how can we mobilize media literacy to address environment justice? We can organize and find on the local level, local groups to work. We can also teach civil skills, civic media literacy to enable mobilization, teach journalists about eco-media literacy. So we have a lot of space to do many things on this topic. Maybe I think that all of us here are working from topics to topics, and many of us have topics that we are interested. So if we talk about this topic now, for me, this is very interested field, this eco-media literacy, because we or I want to find a bridge to that cognitive age between understanding the issues to change the behavior. So I empower students to take action. They learn about action, they learn through action, and learn from action. Why? Because we all know that time is running out and we don't have time. We must act quickly. Also make many surveys on this topic. And if we talk about some results, I have a sample of 1,000 students, and it is only from my faculty, but we are planning to go to the others. The question is, in your opinion, are faculties in your region organizing students with the knowledge and skills to understand the not only climate education, not only eco-media, but all these SDGs, all 17 SDGs. The results are on my faculty that 70% students really understand and take appropriate action in their own lives. The second question was thinking of your faculty or a faculty you know, what would he or she, what are the reactions to a pupil taking that in your hands? Also here, the results are very interesting. We have 38% of students that are really thinking about that and take actions. What are the third question is, what are the main reasons that students on your faculty or region might not include this topic in their lessons? Here are different answers, like it is outside their subject, it is not a part of curriculum, the lack of this education research are not related to the subjects, lack of expertise, it is already covered to other subjects. I think that this topic must be covered with all subjects. As a colleague, as Dr. Beatrice said, in entrepreneurship, in every, especially because many of us here are from the Faculty of Economics, and I think in all of our subjects, this must be included. And we can say here that the subject is contrary to political sensation, and it is not a faculty role to cover such a topic. And here is very interesting that many students gave the answer what I accept, because it is not a part of curriculum. So this, what we do, we are trying to make it like a part of curriculum. This topic is really involved many in STEM education. In my country, we are a lot of working on SDG 4 for quality education, and it is especially in STEM education. Why? Because it relates directly to achievement as SDGs. Also, the Industrial Revolution 4 is gaining the moment and effects for the daily life, and the quantum leap in technology forces is rethinking the ways that we must train the STEM, and that is called the STEM pedagogy. STEM pedagogy in this natural resource of this topic, and innovation and technology also play a big decisive role in the sustainable cities, in communities, especially if we talk about SDG 12, the responsible consumption and production. What it means about adopting meaningful in this. However, the human and technical skills needed for achieving the sustainable development worldwide cannot be developed without this quality education. In the future, there will not be technologies that will design and produce and control the new technological systems and that must be applied in our life. So our aim is to enable our students to produce many new solutions, as I said, put it in curriculum, and to solve many global problems. And what are the key messages and recommendations? If we talk about the natural resource, I said case study in Croatia, but not only in Croatia. Over exploitation, the natural resources are compromising the availability and fair distribution of resources and the benefits to the health of ecosystems and livelihoods and well-being of people. Also, the decisions that are making processes to the inclusive and respected needs and ecological knowledge, not only women, but I can say women and men and all people and local communities. The recognition to support and granted the sustainable practices at the local and regional level. That must include rights and power in decision making. What governments must develop? Governments must develop and produce the responsibility and the supply chain legislation, support technology innovations, technology transfer, and all resources and guarantee green public procurement. So the governance challenge are that natural resources are central of human well-being. We cannot live without clean air we breathe, the plants we eat, or the water or we drink. We need natural resources to put roofs over our heads and heat our homes. We need them to survive and to thrive. So the concept of the sustainable use of natural resources is to refers to the naturally living and non-living elements of the earth system, including plants, fish, also water, salt, and minerals. So some resources like trees, plants are renewable because they are regenerate quickly. And the sustainable use of natural resources, if we're talking about our government, the challenges together must make a dense web of interdependencies, forming ecosystems that also include humans. So people have and must form different types of cultural, spiritual, and other relationships with the natural environment, adopting the systems, the value systems that go beyond economic framings. Thank you. I can talk a lot about this topic, but we don't have time. And there are many indicators. And if we talk about in Europe, the Green Deal, in European Union, what are European Union? I can say that Croatia is really happy that is a part of this Green Deal, and I'm sure that that we will make a lot on this field. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Moderatkovic, for your very insightful presentation. And for all the participants, we will, I think I've seen a question that has been given through the chat box, but I think I will just read it at the end of our presentation. And we will continue for the sixth speaker. We will welcome Dr. Muhammad Wahib Asad, a lecturer from Faculty of Social and Political Science Islamic University of Kalimantan, Banjarmasin, Indonesia. And also, Dr. Wahib is a doctor in program of public administration at Brawijaya University, Indonesia. And also he is a director of Institute of Politics and Public Policy Studies, Banjarmasin, and founder of House of Democracy and Civil Society. Until now, he's doing some activity relating to the field of research, and that is about local elections and money politics, local government and local democracy, local corruption and abuse of power, political corruption at local government, state and business relationship, corruption in national resources, local actor and mafia democracy, local oligarchy and political dynasty, and many others work that have been done by Dr. Wahib. And also he is speaker on international conference in Egypt, Thailand, Australia, and some other countries. And we will give the next 15 minutes for Dr. Muhammad Wahib to deliver his presentation. The time is your Dr. Muhammad Wahib. Sorry, Dr. Wahib, we still cannot hear your voice. Maybe please unmute your device.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. I will do presentation my PowerPoint on entitled Natural Resource in the Grave of Oligarchs. Talking about natural resource in current time is very important. Many experience numerical countries rich in natural resource has been not yet to achieve beneficiary for people and especially for local communities. Now I will to talk in a local level as empirical evidence from South Kalimantan province. South Kalimantan province is a part of province in Indonesia, is well-known natural resource, rich in natural resource, especially coal mining industry. South Kalimantan province, the second, the large national product coal mining industry in Indonesia. So exploitation coal mining industry not only activity economic business, but also how to be instrumental for local actor to buy political and economic patronage for local candidate. I will to conducting my presentation in other side in political economy, public policy perspective. I will to talk about local democracy, minus and political faults. Indonesia is well known as one democratic country in the world. So after political transition, after fall Suharto's government running well until now, there are 17 paradigm. The government managed how to build a nation state then better today, and how to use natural resource as commodity to economic development, but unfortunately, the rich natural resources just only instrument collusion, corruption between actor state, politician, and actor business, like a political incident in South Kalimantan province. Regional health elections are not only a venue for democratic parties, but also an arena for strengthening for politics and business. Regional health election also reflected the test of oligarch democracy and the black market of democracy in the patching of democratic affair euphoria. Ladies and gentlemen, we understand in Kalimantan South province, many mining boss, local strongmen, local Buddhism involved to supporting financial for local election, especially for candidate how to winner in election. The local strongman is mafia democracy, how to buy networking, political, transactional, and how to supporting financial for candidate. In the massively money politic, I think so difficult in Indonesia how to buy democratic substantive until now. Just we understanding the political just to how to show the political formally and producer democracy. It is so far how to reflection democracy substantive. Massively exploitation mining industry given impact on criminalize of human rights and marginalize of a local community, how to buy collusion and corruption, local actor. The other side, the impact of mining exploitation industry in South Kalimantan flowed in the democracy, very high cost democracy, so that just only people a lot of money can to be competition in election. Indonesia is one the country high cost democracy in the world, so that involvement of local position to intervention and political landscape in several election in Indonesia, the role and influence of local Buddhism and national Buddhism, the background of businessmen, is the mafia democracy, mafia election, and so that how to use natural resources is arena collusion between politician and actor business. The intensive election and arena opportunity for cukong. Cukong is the special word in Indonesia. Cukong maybe we can to translate to the broker, political broker, cukong. The cukong is employment of the business group, power from arena of old orders, new orders, and order of democracy is unavoidable. Today, cukong how to play the political landscape and national and local democracy in Indonesia today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how the problem democratization Indonesia today. In the massively corruption and collusion between actor state and actor business, so difficult to avoid it. It is impact of high cost democracy. For the future, the local head government after elected in election, how to use institution and the power to use institution and regulation to rent-seeking behavior, to taking a fee for the cukong or broker election, to taking financial for such system, and part of the political party supporting for candidate. This is triangle collusion, politician, businessman, and political party. This is the problem. Again, this is the problem of political landscape and democracy today. The political actor and struggle for hegemony of local resources, the unavoidable reality of democratic instrument in the current era of capitalistic democratization. The local actor or oligarch have a hegemonic structure and intervene in local political designs. Political parties have transformed into oligarch cartelization. In Indonesia, political party like a cartel, like the owner, almost the chief of political party in Indonesia come from the background of businessmen. So political party like political farming, how to maintain the political family, political dynasty, then political clientelism. It is the capture the evident political situation in Indonesia. The political party, theoretically, the political party, how to build the essential, how to build political literacy, how to give to build political citizen, political civic education. It is not happened in Indonesia, the political party just to instrument collusion actor in inner political party. The essential of the political party, how to build political literacy and civic education for the people. But Indonesia is different in other countries. The political party, how to instrument to be elite capture corruption. Many the research in Indonesia is one of the most important corruption, supporting corruption in Indonesia come from the political party. The political party select a political farming, political family, how to supporting the rise of political family, how to the rise of political oligarchy in Indonesia. We can to imagine how the future the democracy life in Indonesia is like the practical, the behavioral actor and elite, political elite Indonesia, how to collusion, to rent-seeking behavior, rent-seeking economic behavior. So Indonesia will know natural resource. Again, I will to tell you the natural resource not only economic business activity, but so far it is to be political instrument collusion, corruption between actor national actor and local actor. Now, so the Corruption Eradication Commission in Indonesia we can to see according to Commission Corruption Indonesia, the contribution the political party is the biggest, the first supporting the rise of corruption in Indonesia. National corruption of local corruption to do by head local government. It is on impact on high cost democracy. Indonesia one democracy, high cost democracy in the world. So the influence of a businessman, the certain things like mafia, like a criminal, election criminal, according to Professor Edward Aspinall. Indonesia, the practical political landscape Indonesia, cell of democracy, how democracy should sell. And on other side, Professor Thomas Pepensky said the political in Indonesia is a backsliding of democracy. According to Professor Mary McCoy, describes the political behavior in Indonesia today is a criminal scandal democracy. Just a lot of money can to be candidate to be winner in election, and massively money politics and food buying in Indonesia, the practical democracy in Indonesia, like 1 year ago, the stimulously democracy, local election, several province in Indonesia, how to the practical massive democracy, food buying, how to delivery of money to grassroots of the people taking the money, how to choose the son to give in the son to the one candidate. I will to say that the democracy in Indonesia like a black market of democracy, like the criminal, like scandal democracy. We can to be able to buy the image of the future, how to buy substantive democracy in Indonesia. If we look in the practical democracy like today, how to elite capture corruption, to intermixing between corruption, actor state and actor business, politician and businessmen. It is to collusion to wild political patronage and economic patronage and use the mining issues as political campaign, as political advice in how to influence to the people, the son of the people in South Kalimantan province. Coal mining conglomerate in South Kalimantan for the ancestral politics of mining permit. It is the impact on the bad corporate governance until well apply permit and land use in South Kalimantan. Haji Batubara is Haji Batubara. Almost the local position, local mining. Haji the call Haji for Muslim. Haji Batubara has dominated of practical mining industry, the bad mining, corporate mining Indonesia. While he is one, the NGO is very critical to the practical collusion to exploit mining in South Kalimantan. Also, the land in Indonesia in South Kalimantan is captured by businessmen like industry, farm and mining industry. The statement of the Ministry of Environment and Plasticity Nurbaya Bakar claimed the flooding in South Kalimantan is due to weather anomalies. It's the empirical incident happened in South Kalimantan, flooding, water spill over in South Kalimantan a year ago. Several provinces and the regions of Kalimantan capsized by flooding water, massively flooding water 1 year ago. It is all I want to talk. It is all the impact of mining exploitation and deforestation, and Indonesia until running well in some years ago until now. Ladies and gentlemen, what can to do about this political situation in Indonesia? I will to as a leading argument my presentation. Mining exploitation, massively exploitation, natural resources, not only economic activities, business, but how to be instrument collusion between actor state and actor business, how to use institution, how to use the power, and how to use regulation to capture economic and political resources for beneficiary political party and beneficiary of for elite politics and bossism, mining and local strongmen. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much to Dr. Muhammad Utai that have delivered his presentation, his wonderful presentation for us. And for now, we will continue to our seventh speaker, and we will welcome Professor Dr. Muhammad Khurshid Akhtar. And I will just briefly give the introductions of the background of Professor Akhtar. And he is a professor that has more than 30 years of experience in field of teaching, research, consulting, and IT business development. And also he holds the PhD from Atlantic International University, Hawaii, and another from Chiang Mai University in India. And also Prof. Akhtar is currently working as a senior strategic advisor and data scientist at Research and Studies Unit of Strategic Center to Kingdom Vision Realization of King Abdulaziz University, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And Professor Akhtar is also author of 5 books under publication, more than 25 published articles, and co-author of more than 25 articles and conferences publication. Recently, Prof. Akhtar has attended more than 350 webinars in this pandemic situation, including 15 panelists and 10 moderators' works. And after these brief introductions, I will give the next 15 minutes to Prof. Akhtar to deliver his presentation. To Prof. Akhtar, the time is yours. Hello to Mrs. Rizky. Are we still with Prof. Akhtar in this virtual room?
Yes, Kak Umbu.
Okay, we will wait for a minute for Prof. Akhtar to start his presentation.
Okay, maybe the next speaker.
Okay, Mrs. Bubu, please help me to contact Prof. Akhtar, and while we are waiting for an answer from Professor Akhtar, I think we will just move on for our 8 speakers. And I want to welcome Professor Emilia Alavertov. Professor Emilia, are you already with us in this virtual room? Before I give the introduction and also the time for you to deliver the presentation. Mrs. Bubu, is Professor Emilia with us in this room?
Not yet, Kak.
Not yet. All right. I think we will go to on the list our last but not least speaker, and he's Professor Dr. Macario Gayeta from University of East Caloocan City, Metro Manila, Philippines. Prof. Macario, I want to welcome you if you are already with us in this room.
Yes, Kak.
Hello, Ms. Bubu. Are we getting the confirmation from one of the speakers that have now delivered the presentation?
Prof. Gayeta in this room, Kak.
Okay, hello, Prof. Macario Gayeta. Good morning from Indonesia. I think we are still not connected to Professor Akhtar and also Professor Macario.
Okay. I thought I'm the last. Okay, so pleasant morning from the Philippines. I am Dr. Macario G. Gayeta from the University of the East in Caloocan City in Metro Manila, the Philippines. So I'm tasked to speak on the natural resources, governance and sustainable development. So for this morning's conference, I will share with you about environmental scanning and the natural resources in the Philippines and the sustainable development. So I will share with you my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I will just take picture first before I start. Sorry. Okay, so this is my presentation. So again, my topic is about environmental scanning and sustainable development of the Philippines natural resources. Okay, first and foremost, the United Nations has a very long concern about the threat of the environmental problems. And then when we talk about the environmental scanning, it is regarded as a very valuable tool for assessing the ability of the Sustainable Development Goals, or what they call the SDGs, to address various environmental issues around the world. So one of the agendas in the 21st Primary Goals of the Earth Summit, which was held a long time ago, is to integrate environmental issues into the development policies that highlight the effectiveness of the natural resources, engaging economic development through what we call environmental scanning. So environmental scanning is very important around the world. And as I go through with my presentation, I will share with you those countries who was actually implementing these environmental scanning. But first and foremost, since I am from the Philippines, I would like to share with you these what we call the airsheds in the Philippines. So the Philippines, for your information, is composed of 7,100 islands. So as you can see in this presentation, so this is actually the Luzon. This is the Luzon Island. This is the Visayas Island, and this is the Mindanao Island. So in Mindanao Island, this is where our President Rodrigo Duterte is living. And then, you know, it's very far coming from Mindanao, going to the capital city of Manila. So in the airshed in the Philippines, management of air quality monitoring stations includes the technical visit, maintenance and management of data, and acquisition in FTP and web server. So the server is located in the Environmental Management Bureau in Manila, and it is being managed by the Environmental Quality Division, or what we call the Air Quality Management Section. So as you can see here, all the provinces in the Philippines have what we call airsheds. And the operations of the airsheds and governing boards are by the Air Quality Management Fund, and through the budget of Department of Budget and Management of the local government units, internal revenue allotment, and of course, the Special Vehicle Control Fund of the Department of Transportation. So these airsheds in the Philippines is really very important because, you know, Philippines is a subtropical country like Indonesia. We're in right now, it is November, so the cold season, actually even it's not cold, the cold season will be coming in because Christmas is nearly approaching. But right now, we know in I'm living in Manila, the capital of the Philippines. If you are in the Philippines, I've been in Malaysia. Malaysia is really very hot country for me. And then I've been in Thailand. It's also very hot. I don't know if you go to the Philippines, if the same experience that I'm experiencing in those countries really the same. But in the Philippines, since I am in Manila, so Manila is it is very hot, of course, in Manila because um, trees is really very trees are you cannot see more trees in Manila. Instead, high-rise buildings, condominium units, and everything. So the air quality is really not good. So there's a problem right now in the air pollution in the Philippines, but the Philippine government, through the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, is trying their very best to come up with the air quality control. As a matter of fact, in my university, the University of the East is a place where you can find a good quality of air. So the Department of Environment and Natural Resources put the air quality system in Metro Manila to to monitor the air quality, and from time to time, it is being shown on television the quality of air in my place in Caloocan City, in Manila, in Quezon City, in Makati City, and all places in Mega Manila. So to move on, about environmental scanning, the Philippines is very well known in Southeast Asia for its vast natural resources and the dense wild forests. It has a diverse range of flora and fauna, in the forest provides with fresh crystallized water in the mountain range. It ventilates the fresh air in the 7,100 islands, all of which add to the pleasure of staying in the Philippines. It is now a big threat by air pollution from the industries, that water contaminated with animal and human waste, and illegal logging, which is also endangers indigenous people. So when we talk about that threatening air pollution because of the contaminated animal and human waste, there were many presidents of the Philippines has been, in power, but there's no president since time immemorial, since the very first president of the Republic of the Philippines, the former President Emilio Aguinaldo, the very first president of the Philippines from 1898 up to 1905. And then it's the only president, President Rodrigo Duterte, is the only president of the Republic of the Philippines. So, because of the environmental scanning and, water pollution also is threatening uh, Mega Manila or the metropolis, what he did is to, to clean the Manila Bay. So Manila Bay is one of the very beautiful scenery in Manila, but it is threatening because of the pollution, because of the human waste from the industries, human waste and animal waste from the fast food chain restaurants, and they are flowing those waste, dumped waste over Manila Bay. And what the president did is to rehabilitate the Manila Bay. So aside from rehabilitation of Boracay Beach Resort for a couple of days, so it also rehabilitate Manila. So for the very first time in the history of the Philippines, there was that president who rehabilitated the Manila Bay in Manila, wherein if you go to the Philippines and if you go to Manila Bay, you can go there with, it looks like Florida in the US. And that's because of the Republic Act 9275, the Philippine Clean Air Act is very timely for the Philippines. So Metro Manila is a rapid urbanizing city, experiencing environmental problems related to urbanization, such as floods, solid waste management, air and water pollution, and of course, the climate change. That's the reason why it's always very, very hot in Manila, because as what I've said, there's no trees in Manila. If there are trees, very few trees you can find. Several studies has been conducted at the level of implementation of what we call SEEA. What stands about? It's this acronym stands for System Environmental Economic Accounting with 18 countries. As you can see in the presentation, there are several countries that's already been implemented the environmental scanning, and they're already implementing the program. And those countries are Australia, Botswana, Brazil, Canada, China, Colombia, Indonesia, Japan, Jordan, Mexico, Namibia, New Zealand, the Philippines, Korea, South Africa, USA, and of course, the European Union. So to move on, the use of natural resources has been classified into what we call the different renewable resources, like the solar energy, the wild energy, the field energy, and the different water reservoir, and non-renewable resources like mineral substances and fossil fuels. And industrialized countries in terms of exploitation, like Germany and Australia and China, wherein Germany and Australia are both developed countries. So they already complied with the environmental scanning, while environmental accounting and scanning protection and regulation, while China is the only developing country nation in the world with a vast economic growth in Asia, eventually has limitless environmental scanning despite their rapid economic development. So these are the different first implementing countries of WAVES. Number one is Botswana, Colombia, Costa Rica, Madagascar, and the Philippines. So they are the first implementing countries in WAVES, as they are connected in the development of environmental economic policy in the world. Okay, so right now it's the month of November. It is now National Clean Air Day. through Republic Act 8749, which is called the Philippine Clean Air Act. So to move on, the Philippines and Indonesia have planned to develop economic environmental scanning accounts in the future. The initiative of two countries is well supported by the funding from the government and international collaboration. The Philippines implemented already those plans in water conservation, mineral deposits, forest preservation, and other accounts for the land and balance ecosystem, recreational and physical supply in the use of people and the policy formation. So through the Executive Order 406 signed in 1997, so the Philippine Economic, Environmental, and Natural Resources Accounting, or PENRA, more power in the country, as well as the establishment of an environmental scanning units for the National Economic Development Authority, or NEDA, to achieve economic growth and development and sustainable development in the Philippines, as according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. So now, how this greenhouse effect affecting us? So according to Asian Development Bank, as a part of World Bank study, several inventories of the greenhouse gas have been initiated in the Philippines, located in Cebu, in Vietnam, located in Da Nang, and then in Indonesia, which is located in Surabaya. So the purpose of the World Bank is to study or investigate sustainable urban energy and the emission planning and development in the three Southeast Asian countries and cities. So the primary purpose of the greenhouse gas is to develop or establish a balances and insights from the different baseline energy balances and energy goals. So aside from Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam, Malaysia also goes with the green effect, and they funded more than 1.5 billion euros in Malaysia. So the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals, or SDG, as the Philippines strategy for the sustainable development, is for the information dissemination. Because information dissemination is really very important. It plays a pivotal role when it comes to promotional activities, and of course interacting with the existing economy and the system, environmental, economic accounting and scanning, and as the sustainable development goals indicators. Unsustainable use of environmental resources like climate change, loss of biodiversity, is affecting women and the marginalized people who are only dependent on natural resources for the source of their revenue. Most Filipinos continue to rely on the natural resources because, as I said, Philippines is a very vast forest, and this is used for subsistence, forcing them to confront the unavoidable reality of ecological principles. Agriculture, fisheries, and forestry, it provides for the 2/3 of the Philippine population. Soil erosion, deforestation, pollution, and the declining of fish catch are all problems in the Philippines. The United Nations extend their support to the Philippines to strengthen the reduction of poverty, putting the country to shared and sustain the growth in a longer term. That's according to the United Nations. So this is, a figure within mental sustainability can be achieved. It composed of sustainable industrialization, which is very important in the different parts of the country. The international cooperation, like for example, the JICA, or Japan International Cooperation Agency, the USAID, the OSAID, and the Danish International Agency, which is, they are funding different projects, and not only in the Philippines, but also all over the world. The behavioral change in the daily life, because right now, there are many people in the different parts of the world, specifically in the third world countries, like for example, in my country. So people like for example, the indigenous people live in those wild forests, but they are the one who are, damaging the environment. So there is what we call a sudden change in the daily lives of people. There is what we call ecological restoration and ecotourism. So that is very, very important. I've been into the tourism industry. I've been in the hospitality industry in the Philippines, and right now there is what we call a massive ecological restoration and ecotourism, not only in the different provinces in the Philippines, but of course when you go to Davao City, where the president of the Philippines resides, Davao City is really into the ecotourism. So waste recycling and reuse is very important. Like for example, there are many bottles of mineral waters, there are many bottles of soda, there are many plastic waste, and then all over. But we need to recycle them to ensure that no more pollution will take effect. So wastewater and the treatment and reuse. So that's very important in different countries. For example, in my province, there was that project collaborated with China, the water treatment facility, because one of the river in Batangas City, in my province, is really very is polluted. And then there was a project not only to clean the river, but of course to rehabilitate. We need a lot of rehabilitations, like what happened in Manila Bay. So the Department of Environment and Natural Resources rehabilitated Manila Bay, rehabilitated Boracay Beach, and the different places. And then the use of renewable energy is really very, very important. And the use of green in public transport is very important right now in the Philippines. All the public transporters are now using what we call public transportation, which is called as a carousel. So those are the different things that have been included in the environmental sustainability. So for environment and for sustainable development, so environmental education and information dissemination is really very important. So the Department of Education, through the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, have started this environmental education. So environmental education has been stipulated in the elementary curriculum. It is stipulated in junior high school, in the senior high school, and then it is also stipulated in the curriculum in the tertiary education. In fact, the Commission on Higher Education in the Philippines has already changed the entire curriculum for the students, whether it is in the state universities and colleges in the Philippines, whether it is in the private universities and colleges in the Philippines. So all the curriculum has been changed. So for example, if you go to another university, if you transfer to another university, from one university to another university, the curriculum with environmental education and information dissemination is included. So environmental education is created to help citizens understand and appreciate the complex of the environment, as well as what is the role that has been implemented by us professors or teachers in management of the environment plays in the economic development. And we need to foster social values that are strongly supportive of the environmental protection. So aside from environmental education, there is also a big role portrayed by the citizens' participation. People are born the ability to better themselves and their communities. Problems that they can face can be solved through their own efforts. So citizens' participation is really very important, not only in the Philippines, but also all over the world when it comes to sustainable development goals. So as you can see, so there is a project by the Department of the Education in the Philippines, which, showcasing the environmental education and information dissemination. So the sustainable development and natural resources connections are the following. So there is a rationale of the exploitation of non-renewable resources, intensive use of renewable, behavior of civilian, integrated the policy, conservation of natural stock for future generation, clean sustainable production, and of course, the sustainable consumption. And that's very important in the sustainable development and natural resources. So for my conclusion, environmental scanning is regarded as a very useful tool for assessing the quality of sustainable development to address various environmental issues worldwide. The Sustainable Development Goal connections, like Sustainable Development Goal 5, 7, are very important for the Philippines. And components of natural resources in terms of inheritance, technology and environment, and of course, the environmental scanning. The important issues in the developing countries like the Philippines are to support the policy formation. The Philippines implemented plans for the water conservation, mineral deposits, forest preservation, and other accounts for the land and the balanced ecosystem, recreational and physical supply, and the use of table. So for this international conference, thank you very much to all the participants and of course to my good friend, Dr. Muhammad Mohib Assad. Thank you for the opportunity in participating in this international conference on natural resources governance and sustainable development. Terima kasih, Indonesia.
Thank you so very much to Professor Makario Gayeta for delivering a really insightful presentation for us. And because of the connection problem with Prof. Akhtar and also Prof. Emilia, we will continue our session to the question and answer. And we've already had a question in the chat box. And while we are waiting for, okay, we have Dr. Martadani Noor that already used the raise hand feature to have a question to the speakers. And I will give the time first for Dr. Martadani to submit his opinion. Please have your time, Dr. Martadani.
Okay, thank you. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Martadani Noor. I'm a lecturer at the Social and Political Science Faculty of Widya Mataram University in Indonesia. I think it's very important to talk about the relationship between aspect of postgraduate education and the issues of sustainability development. My question is, how important is postgraduate education in the field of sustainable development? I would like to understand from your opinion with different countries. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the questions. If the question is pointed to all of the speakers?
Yes.
Okay. And also the other question is, we'll search it first. Okay, from Mrs. Hartuti Purnaweni. Yeah, she said, I want to ask, how about circular economic practice in the developed countries, and why some of them still export their waste into other countries? I think this question can be answered by Professor Beatrice, also maybe Professor Elizabeth, yeah, and some other speakers also, if you want to give some addition to that question. So I will once again read the question. I want to ask, how about circular economic practice in the developed countries, and why some of them still export their waste into other countries? Yeah.
Oh, I can answer the question. So this is a good question indeed. So it should not, the developed countries should not so export or sell the waste to other countries, but because the principle of circular economy is that, so the circular economy works within a country. So, for example, according to the circular economy plan of the European Union, is that inside the country or inside a set of countries that produce one good or in one industry, for example, the textiles industry, so they really can deal with the circular economy within the countries. But of course, as in many things, so there are opportunists that really so are going to sell the waste to other countries, and the other countries accept that because money sometimes is so it's necessary. But the beginning or the principle, the aim of circular economy is that inside the countries who produce that in that industry to really can use it, and so don't have any waste. So if they have any waste, so they can sell to anyone. They are going to reuse all the materials to other industry in the productive cycle. And so what is going out should be near from zero. Okay, so this is the principle, and for suppose that is what is desirable that happen within the plan and within the plans for 2030 and for the developing countries for 2050. Okay, I hope that I had answered to the question.
Thank you so much, Professor Elizabeth. And I would like to give the time for other speakers to maybe give some addition to this question or the first question that have been given to all of the speakers. I think the first question was about how important the postgraduate education in sustainable development in each country's perspectives. And yeah, maybe the speakers can give their opinion or answer the question, please. Maybe Professor Nadaratkovic would like to start it for us.
The question is that how the education will help in the countries about this topic. Yes, I said that if we don't educate our students, our kids about this, we cannot have this and we cannot talk about sustainable development like natural measures, because everything is going first from education. And I said how plan we have, we must have a climate team or in all subjects, in all curriculum, in the curriculum it must be involved and it is really necessary. So we have many projects on the national, on the global level. Before a few days, big climate action project finished, where will be included more than a million students and teachers from all over the world, and that are students from I can say kids from primary school till the faculty. And education is not only education, but all 17 SDG must be included in a fourth in education. And if we talk about decent growth, zero hunger, no poverty, all are in correlation. We cannot talk about one SDG. So if we educate our kids, we can say that we will do a lot, and we can have natural resources on sustainable development.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Nada Ratkovic. So,
Thank you.
yeah, that education is really important, but not the only aspect that needs to be fulfilled in achieving the global development goals. Okay, please, for any other of the speakers that want to answer the question or give some addition to the question that have been given. Maybe Dr. Muhammad Wahid or anyone from our speakers.
Any question for me?
Okay, so the question was for all of the speakers, and okay, the question is for all of the speakers about how important is the education aspects in the perspective of each country regarding to the fulfillment of this global agenda.
Yeah, the universities in Indonesia must be any program curriculum in the material subject, how to student understanding important sustainable development, but I see until now not curriculum to respective to answer the problem environmental destruction in Indonesia today. And so many students not interested talking about the frustration and environmental destruction, and it is a common enemy for local people. But there are separate university between empirical evidence and local people living in area in the Aceh. For example, in South Kalimantan province, so difficult for lecture on student to protecting and to keep and to critical for mining massive industry. So the university, there are distinct between a university and common enemy is impact on coal mining industry. The improvement of university to keep how to protect impact on mining exploitation. So we hope for to government any curriculum to teach for all students in Indonesia how to familiar and environmental in Indonesia, how to use natural resource to sustainable development goals in Indonesia. It is not to teach it for our students in Indonesia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Dr. Muhammad Wahid. Hey, Miss Putri, if you want to add something.
Okay, thank you, Kak Umbu. I think education is an important factor in sustainable development. It is related to poverty, health, gender equality. If we are educated, we will know about healthy living. We can know that the culture that has been marginalizing women can be changed. Curriculum in education should be based on sustainable development, sustainable education, and then human resources, collaboration between the government, the community, and NGOs are needed in sustainable education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think for the last part, I also want to discuss for all the speakers about what's your perspective about what's the key determinants in terms of to make sure that this global framework, this global agenda to make a sustainability development, how can it be achieved completely? Like in terms of strategy, what should be done differently comparing to the previous framework, that is the Millennium Development Goals. And now we know that we are moving on to the Sustainable Development Goals with the 17 goals. And in your perspective, what should be the key determinants, the key factor for us to achieve this global agenda, and also the strategy that should be taken differently than the previous agenda? Okay, to anyone of the speakers, can you share your thoughts with us on that, please?
Well, I can speak. So we hope that from, for example, this meeting in Glasgow, it was or it results some new sense about the importance of the sustainable development for all the world. And that all the states, all the nations, especially the ones that are more productive and more polluting of the environment, be more responsible. So of course that all of the countries in the world, and especially in Europe, and especially United States and China, that are the ones that have a more intense productive system, that give the example, and that all the citizens have a part of them in this accomplish of the 17 goals of the sustainable development. So, and for these, the key or the factors that are the key factors for that, I think one is really the compromises of the developed country. But other is very important, that is the citizenship, that is the individuals, so the society, each one of us, to really have a sense that that is important for the present and is important for the future generations. So when we are professors, when we are students, when we are the CEO of companies, all of you have in any sense a responsibility to really accomplish or to do it what is from our side, what we can do it for the 17 sustainable goals. The case of circular economy, it's more easy to everybody because at our homes we can recycle, we can reuse the machines, we can, so when they are broken, we can really have a way to keep it working if possible. We can reuse, we can recycle, put it on the special places for reuse. We can do the one we can do it, but do it something. And I think is a culture, is education, and especially is a responsibility of governments, of companies, of institutions, of people. And I think that is the key factors that everybody has to be aware of that. And for me, that is, what is really important? So to do some information campaigns to really elucidate people in the several sectors of the society for that give good examples in society, in governments, in education, at universities, at school, at primary schools, everywhere. I think that is the difference. So that is my opinion.
Thank you so much, Professor. We truly appreciate your thoughts on that. And I would like to give the other opportunity for our remaining speakers. Maybe Professor, if you want to add something, or anyone from our speakers, the time is yours.
Muhammad from Saudi Arabia is coming. Moderator, Professor Muhammad from Saudi Arabia is coming to be speaker.
Okay. Hello to Prof. Akhtar. Okay, I guess while we are waiting for Professor Muhammad Khurshid Akhtar, we will continue to discuss about our thoughts on this. Maybe Professor Shimizu, if you want to add something.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I talk to you? Okay, to everybody.
Okay.
Okay. Also, that I really appreciate, and I really learn a lot from the all of speakers. So my research field is quite different from the because it's not related to political concept and also economy, but also we are just technical issue. So huge variety of the also natural resources, how to utilize. So of course the system is important. However, also the partial technology is important. Right? So for example, in Indonesia, huge variety of plant, mushroom, and microorganisms, and huge variety. And they are made of carbon oxide. Right? Carbon oxide. Right? So that's mean how to utilize, how to deposit carbon oxide materials in our life. So, and however, until now, the huge amount of waste, So we are also a chemist. I'm a chemist, and also against the agriculture field and food technology, and also materials technology. How should we combat the waste, from waste to valuable materials and use? This is also one of the important things for establishing the circular economy. Right? So also system is also most important, but simultaneously we should develop the technology. So then also we need to discuss also together technology. What kind of technology is needed for establishing the circular economy. Right? So then, I obtained such kind of information and also try to develop the technology. So especially in Asia and also the developing country, also huge variety of natural resources, but they did not recognize great potential of natural resources. So from educational point of view, so we also professor must also deliver the importance of natural resources to everybody. And also, of course, yeah, now also natural resource product is relatively expensive. However, so these materials must be contributing to the also completing the SDGs goal. So from educational point of view, from technological point of view, from political point of view, so getting together, merge also, merge also great diversical research must be needed. So so my opinion is from the different point of view. However, also this conference is very nice, right? So because also different also research and different background are getting together and learn or something from different professors. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you so much, Professor Shimizu. So all of these various perspectives will just enrich our discussion and also our thoughts on these topics. And we really appreciate your opinion and also your thoughts on this. I think we still cannot connect it to Professor Akhtar. So I will be just continue to maybe give some time for other speakers to add something on this discussion before we sum it up and get to our last session. Anything else that would be added from other speakers, please? Okay, if that is all for our discussions, I will briefly summarize the discussion that has been presented by our distinguished speakers. And today for the topics about natural resources governance towards sustainable development, we will talk really rich ideas, and it comes from like the pillars of sustainability such as people, planet, and profit, and also hoping that company also contribute to the communities in make sure that this global agenda can be successfully achieved. And also we heard from two of our speakers that also discussed about the circular economy. And we discussed that this can be applied whether it is in industry, practical life, companies and institutions, also even in cities and society. And this is a really important notions for us to grasp and also to implement. And also we heard about establishing a resource recycling social system and also about circular economic from Professor Kunio Shimizu, and also that natural resources is the best material to be developed or also to be taking concern of. And also from Ms. Putri, we learned about how multi-stakeholder partnership for sustainable development really important, and how countries try to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic that hampered all of us. And thank God that we are all in good condition and also can meet today and have a discussion. And also it is important to try to decrease the top-down models relationship of government and also for the stakeholders, in try to make sure that our global framework can be done or actively taking part by all of the elements. And also we heard about the government of Croatia, how they are doing their work and support the global framework from the United Nations. And also some important things is that we are learning by action, but also we are learning through action. And also from Dr. Muhammad Wahid, we were discussing about local democracy, about minds and political parts about how the politician can make some issues, including the national or natural resources, as tools for their interest in political campaign. And the last but not least, also from Professor Macario, we learned about how the Philippines government, also the society, seeing the disseminations of the information really important, and also the good interdependence. And the United Nations itself extended support for the Philippines to sustain the growth in the future. I think there is some of really important things that have been delivered by our speakers. And for me, I'm truly appreciate and honored to moderate this discussion, and also to all of our speakers. We really appreciate your time, and we truly appreciate for the insight, the thoughts that have been shared to all of the participants in today's conference. And that's all for our international conference presentation session. And I wish best of luck, and also good health for all of the speakers, and also for all of the participants. And I think that's all from me for today's discussion, and also for our speakers. I will give the time back to our host, Mrs. Frisky. Once again, thank you so much for all of our speakers and all of the participants.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Umbu. For your information, the abstract that has been submitted will be published as an ISBN proceeding book. Okay, because all our session has reached its end, perhaps we can open our camera and have a picture session. I would like to take a screen capture. Sorry, I will take a screen capture. Can you open your camera? Okay, all of the participants can open the camera. I will take a screen capture in my monitor. Okay, I will start it. The first screen. Okay, thank you. And then second screen. And third screen. And then the last screen. Okay. Okay, then maybe Miss Putri Herdianasari, can you let us to close with the prayer?
Okay, thank you. Then I will lead us to close with prayer in the Christian faith that others can follow with your own belief. Let's pray. Let's pray together. Thank you, God, for a successful international conference. We know that you have blessed us, hence this success. May you continue to bless us as we get out of this place and apply what we have learned in our own profession. Give that we do this fully aware that it's not for ourselves that we learn, but to serve others. Realize us that all our actions and plan must be carried out for our greater glory. Give us your divine guidance so that we can decide wisely and correctly. May you send your Holy Spirit so that we are not afraid to face the challenge that accompany our daily lives. Realize that without you, we are nothing. All of this we pray for and offer to you. Amen.
Okay, thank you for all speaker excellence.
Okay, that is the end of this conference, we'd like to say thank you to all our speakers and participants. We hope we can meet in other season, maybe meet in real life when everything is settled. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Shimizu.
Thank you, my brother, Dr. Wahid.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Professor Nada Ratkopik.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Elizabeth. Thank you all.
It is a pleasure to meet you, all of the speakers, also the participants. Thank you so much for the opportunities.
Professor Shimizu, we can meet the conference next.
Okay. Thank you very much for invitation. Okay. Thank you very much this time. Right?
Don't boring invite you the next conference.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Professor Nada